Welcome into today's San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Hope all of the faithful is having a phenomenal weekend. Today's show is presented by Manscaped. It is smooth sack summer. When you're hanging out by the pool, you don't want that George W. Bush down below the belt, right? 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/49ers. Promo code 49ers. For that deal to apply for the best men's grooming products out there, join the 8 million men who have purchased their products today. All right, want to answer some of your questions on today's show because we're at this point of the offseason where we're well off of the peak of NFL free agency, the NFL draft, and we're in this in-between zone, right? We're at this slow part of the offseason in which nothing is really happening, but training camp is beginning for San Francisco on July 25th. It's going to be here before we know it. So I wanted to open up the floor without a live show this week because I've been doing so much NBA content and start to take some of your questions. And we got some great ones in on the community tab on our YouTube channel. By the way, head over there. We also put up some YouTube shorts as well. And of course, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/49ers TV, to be a part of the largest independently run Niners channel here on YouTube. So let's begin here with Andy. He asks, if we add another edge rusher opposite of Nick Bosa, which one is the best option? Yannick Ngakoue, Chase Young, Danielle Hunter. Which one has the best impact and longest tenure with the San Francisco 49ers? So the player who I think has the biggest impact right away is Yannick Ngakoue, because Ngakoue has had at least 8 sacks every single season that he's been in the NFL, and he's only 28 years old. It's wild to me that he is without a deal up to this point. Now, recently, a couple of weeks ago, he did hire Drew Rosenhaus to be his agent, and I think that Rosenhaus is going to allow him to get a deal somewhere close to what market value is. Danielle Hunter, also a very solid player. The injuries a couple of years ago certainly concerned me a little bit. It was kind of a neck-back issue, I think. And then Chase Young is the high-impact player who might have the best future because he's still young as he's entering year 4, the final year of his rookie contract, but that knee issue, a little bit of a problem. Now, he did play at Ohio State with Nick Bosa. Unfortunately, Bosa's season that year was cut short, his final season in Columbus. Still good enough to have the Niners draft him where they did, but you have to look at this, 3 different players, 3 different scenarios. Yannick Ngakoue helps your Super Bowl window the best right now as a pure edge rusher who can get after the quarterback. Danielle Hunter has versatility to play outside and on the interior. And then Chase Young, a straight-up athletic freak. Andy, thank you so much for that question. Peyton Effington, the thing this season that will separate us from the NFC runner-ups to champs is the choice to be made between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. I think it's Purdy's job to be lost. So it's Purdy's job to win. It's Purdy's job for the taking, in my opinion. And that's everything that I've heard from people I've spoken with and everything I've seen out there from all the credible reporters out there, on top of everything that we've kind of gathered here on the 49ers Report. Like, the 49ers really were impressed last year with what Brock Purdy was able to do. He comes in as Mr. Irrelevant. They're down against the Miami Dolphins when they have to come back, and Purdy has to replace Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Purdy then goes undefeated in all of his starts. He led all starters in quarterback rating from that point on. He made very smart decisions with the football. He was accurate. He was decisive. He got the ball out on time and rhythmically to his playmakers. I think the Niners very, very impressed and somewhat surprised by his athletic ability to extend plays, and he looked like a professionally polished quarterback. What I also think is pretty notable here, everybody wants to say, you know, he goes to the Niners, they are loaded. Look at what he did with Iowa State. Matt Campbell loved Brock Purdy. Every year that he was there, they were a feisty team in a very competitive conference in the Big 12 with some elite teams among college football powers. Brock Purdy leaves. They were awful in the Big 12 last year, was Iowa State. So his impact was certainly felt. I think it's Purdy's job to lose. As long as he's healthy, I think he's going to win it. Tango, how long do you think our Super Bowl window will be? This is actually a good question, as you kind of project forward here. And that's why the Niners feel some pressure right now to try to win this Super Bowl. Back-to-back NFC Championship game appearances. 3 NFC Championship games over 4 years. A Super Bowl appearance obviously sprinkled in with that first one in 2019. Fred Warner, mid-20s. Nick Bosa, mid-20s. George Kittle getting older. Trent Williams getting older. There is a pressure to win right now and win very quickly because you can't let this prime window pass you by. And if the Niners do not bring home a Lombardi trophy with this collective core, you're kind of going to look back at this era as a what could have been type of era. And one of the more talented collective groups that did not win a Super Bowl among recent teams in NFL history. So what do you think? This will be our pinned comment for today's show. How long do you think the 49ers Super Bowl window is? Let me know down in the comment section because I want to see realistically what you all think about what this team is going to be as we move forward here. More of your questions coming up, but first, what a beautiful summer. Manscaped is our sponsor for today's show. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/49ers. We're going to put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. And people have been talking here. People have been saying, Chase, really like the 49ers report. Chase, training camp is coming up around the corner. You know when training camp happens? At the end of summer. And we're calling it Smooth Sack Summer. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you escape from pubes to bum with Manscaped. That's right. This is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming are making sure we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer with Manscaped. With that deal, 20% off and free shipping. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. They have built the ultimate grooming bundle for your summer grooming. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. The battery life lasts a really, really long time. Use Manscaped's liquid formulations as well to keep that freshness, even at the hottest summer barbecues. Most importantly, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant to stay cool in the heat. With the soothing aloe vera formula, it's the best in the business for the below-the-waist freshness that you're all seeking. And this clear drying formula will keep looking good while smelling good. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, Manscaped Boxer Briefs, the Shed Travel Bag, and I also love the nose hair trimmer as well, because if you're having a conversation with somebody out there and you're engaged in that conversation, but they have all these hairs coming out of their nostrils, don't you sometimes get really distracted by that? You're trying to make eye contact, right? But then you're going yeah, very odd. Get all those products in the Performance Package 4.0 during Smooth Sack Summer. Manscaped.com/49ers is where it's at. That link is hanging out in the comment section and in the description of this video. Moving forward, hey, yo, who do you think we trade for before the trade deadline nears in October? So it's hard to pinpoint names right now because oftentimes that could come down to a team that is selling or buying. Let me throw a position out there, though. If Colton McKivitz doesn't cut it at right tackle, I think the Niners might scour the market for a better right tackle upgrade. If Cleveland Ferrell and Drake Jackson are not playing well and they don't sign a Yannick Ngakoue, a Danielle Hunter trade, Chase Young trade, any of those moves, Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, the list goes on and on and on, maybe they look to upgrade with edge rusher. They made a move 2 years ago for Charles Omenihu, which ended up being a very big acquisition. He developed into a good player. Then the year before that, Jordan Willis, another player who they traded for as well. So they do have a history with getting aggressive at the NFL trade deadline. Francisco Avila, 49ers, been hearing some good things about Jalen Graham. Wondering if you heard the same. Yeah, the late round pick, the linebacker. I've heard that, he has good athleticism, but let's see what happens when physicality is allowed, the pads get popping, and live bullets start to fly. That's when we'll really start to realize and see how good these players are. My man, Birdman Drug Stories, he also does his thing on his YouTube channel. What quarterback gives us the best chance at a Super Bowl this year? Highest upside on the team is Trey Lance. The most consistent quarterback, which I think is what you need, is Brock Purdy, and the results have been there. The most known commodity is Brock Purdy. The most unknown is Trey Lance. And then the most erratic, who you really never know what you're going to get, is Sam Darnold. You also don't know how he's going to play for this team with Kyle Shanahan and this offense now being the best situation that he's had since entering the NFL in 2018. Joshua Ballman, what is the Nick Bosa contract going to look like? So I think he's going to get more than Aaron Donald, and he's going to overtake him as the highest paid defensive player in the history of the NFL. Now, with the NFL salary cap continuing to increase year over year, at some point, Bosa will be overtaken, and he'll become the previously known highest paid defensive player in the history of the NFL. But I think it's going to be between $32 and $35 million. My original projection was like 31 and a half. I think it could be a little bit more than that. At least that would not surprise me. King Splashers, when will Purdy be fully healthy? If not, can Sam Darnold have that Cooper Rush type of year? Cooper Rush didn't even really put up that many numbers, but he played consistent football for the Cowboys last year. And I actually thought with the way that he managed the game, and he took what the defense gave him, and with how the Cowboys called plays for him, knowing that he's limited, the Cowboys kind of played better with Cooper Rush at moments than they did with Dak Prescott because they're paying Dak all this money. They want to see him put up these numbers. They're relying on him to live up to this contractual obligations and that contract, and they put so much on his plate. And frankly, I think that Dak Prescott is mid. I think he's very average. So can Sam Darnold manage the game like a Cooper Rush? Yeah, I think he'd be able to do that. You run the football effectively with Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, and Jordan Mason. You have some good playmakers around him where he has to make throws when he has to complete them. And then Kyle Shanahan can get creative with the game plans, and he can be at least above average. As for the early portion of your question, I'm looking at the end of August for when Brock Purdy might be fully cleared if he continues to make seamless progress here. And look, I thought it was unrealistic for him to play week 1, but he continues to recover very, very quickly. And that's becoming a little bit more realistic along this timeline here. So late August is when I'm going to say Purdy might be fully healthy. Make sure you subscribe to the show because when August comes around, you know what the return is? Watch parties. Then NFL regular season watch parties right after that. Start of the season is going to be here in a blink. Subscribe to the show. 18,428 people away from 100,000 subscribers. Join the movement here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. 2 more to get to. Mitchell Lee. How do you walk around with balls as big as yours? You know, that's a phenomenal question. It's not easy to live this life. And what I would say is that when you open up your eyes every single morning after that alarm sounds, you just can't be scared. That's how you walk around with balls as big as mine. And most importantly, you use Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming, for the best men's grooming products. 20% off and free shipping, by the way, at manscaped.com/49ers. That's funny. Mark Campion, when will Kyle get over his arrogance and resign so that we can win a Super Bowl? His ego has cost us at least 2 so far. Come on, man. I don't get the Kyle Shanahan hate. Do people realize how awful and how much of a dog shit this organization was with Jim Tomsula and Chip Kelly? Kyle Shanahan comes in 2017, rips everything down, builds it back up, and in 2019, number 1 seed in the NFC, led them to a Super Bowl. I know that they were up in the 4th quarter against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but you know how Mahomes and Andy Reid got their 2nd ring? They came back from a 10-point deficit at halftime to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. It's almost as if Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are one of the best quarterback head coaching combinations that the NFL has ever seen. Now, has Kyle Shanahan been a little bit arrogant? Yeah. Is part of that confidence? Yeah. Because is he really good at what he does? For sure. And Kyle Shanahan is an elite coach in this league, elite play designer, elite play caller, 3 NFC championship games over the last 4 years. Back-to-back NFC title games. So over the last 3 of the last 4 years, I should say, they've been a top 4 team in football. Would you take that every single year, or rather than take a chance of firing one of the best coaches in the league right now, and then you're bringing in an unknown commodity who is probably, most likely, not going to be as good as Kyle Shanahan? I don't get the hate. I understand he can be a little bit arrogant. Understand, though, the pressure to win in this league is insurmountable, especially for this franchise with high standards every single year. Thanks for all of your questions. Thanks for tuning in. thank you to all of you who have subscribed. And if you ain't subscribed, you ain't alive.